This is the Wall Township Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Smythe, can we have the sunshine announcement and roll call, please?
Yes, this is the Wall Township Board of Education meeting for which adequate notice was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act by notice to the Co-Star, Asbury Park Press, all Wall Township schools, the Township Clerk's Office, and the Board Administration Office on January 4th, 2024. Take a roll call. Mr. Anisio? Here. Ms. Barbier?
Here.
Mr. Buffa?
Here.
Ms. DiGiovanni?
Here.
Mr. Nasser?
Here.
Ms. Shimko?
Here.
Mr. Wondrak? Mr. Malif?
Here.
Ms. Stites?
May I have a motion to go into executive session for items A, D, E, G, and H?
I'll move.
I'll start.
Mrs. DiGiovanni and Mr. Who second? Mr. Nasser, second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Okay, all in favor?
All in favor?
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carried.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, we will be reconvening the Wall Township Board of Education business meeting. Please join me in welcoming our Wall High School NNDCC cadets with the flag salute.
Present. Colors. Carry. Colors. Cut. Right wheel. March. Forward. March. Color guard. Halt. Color guard. Order. Arms. Cut. Color guard. All out. IMSG.
Thank you. Before we resume our meeting, I have a very special recognition this evening for Cadet Master Chief Brendan Lang, who is a senior at Wall High School. Brendan has been selected for an incredibly outstanding honor. He has been selected to be a part of the Best Defense Foundation Next Generation Student Program, where he will be one of 16 students who accompany 60 World War II veterans on the Battlefield Return Program this June, where they will be going to France, commemorating the 80th commemoration of D-Day and the Battle of Normandy. This is I believe, 12-day program, and this is a tremendous, tremendous honor that is well-deserved. I am so proud that Brendan will be representing Wall Township. There have been kids all around the world that attempted to join this program, and I know that he will really be an outstanding reflection. You are such a great reflection of your parents and our community, and we are just thrilled for you. So thank you. Yay. And now I'm going to let you escape. Mr. Smythe, will you please do roll call?
Yes, roll call, Mr. Anisio. Here. Ms. Barbiere.
Here.
Mr. Buffa.
Here.
Ms. DiGiovanni.
Here.
Mr. Maliff.
Here.
Mr. Nasser.
Here.
Ms. Shimko.
Here.
Mr. Wondrak. Mr. Mason Adam. Ms. Megan Cappy. And Ms. Stites.
Here. Would you like us to adjourn? At this time, the board is going to adjourn to the front row for several showcases.
All set? Okay. It's my pleasure to speak with you this evening and introduce the first of two presentations this evening. And it truly is my pleasure.
Thanks.
Mr. Laughlin.
Appreciate that.
Okay. To welcome you to our Board of Education meeting to share really some highlights. And so, actually, it's a very, very visually stimulating.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Serbowitz, wherever you are.
Shout out. And I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. I just want to thank the Board of Ed for giving each of the schools an opportunity to pick a month to showcase something that is going on in their buildings. I know we've seen some things over the course of the last 5 or 6 months. Something that I decided to do this month was to really just highlight some of the clubs, activities, and some of the extracurricular events that we have here at the intermediate school for those out there in YouTube land that may not recognize some of the things that we do and all that we have to offer for the intermediate school. And we put together a little video for you. Some of the things are things that have been happening currently in this school year. Some of the pictures you'll see were from last year because they haven't happened yet. And then I'm going to selfishly plug that on Thursday, we have Volley for Autism, which is a large fundraiser that Susie Panasuk and all the teachers have spent the time to put together. I got to experience it last year for the first time. It was really amazing. And it is a charity fundraiser that we do that then turns the profits over. We use them for some of our students in our self-contained classes to kind of beef up some of the field trips and the opportunities for certain students, and then we also give a proceed of the event to a local organization in Brick Township that helps parents like myself who have kids on the spectrum to identify services that they need and support them in ways that schools typically can't. So that's my selfish plug. So I hope we see everybody here on Thursday.
Once upon a time, there was a little ogre named Shrek who lived with his parents in a bog by a tree.
It was a pretty nasty place, but he was happy because ogres like nasty.
Sunshine, I got rain, I got rain, I got rain. And then I saw her face, I saw his face. Now I'm a believer, not a trace, no, not a trace of doubt in my mind, in my mind. I believe, I believe. I believe, 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 I believe.
I think I want to come back as a 6th grader at Wall Intermediate School so I can benefit from 3 years of really stimulating activities. And really the messaging was very clear that when students get involved, it really enhances their educational experience. And I just want to punctuate that, underline it, and highlight it because, you know, for those of you that are here and for those of you that are out, and I'll quote Mr. Laughlin, TV land, please encourage your children, encourage your grandchildren, to your nieces, your nephews, your friends. Get involved because it makes such a difference. And, you know, the experiences are so robust, and I'm incredibly grateful that we're able to, this community is able to provide them for our students. So thank you to all. Next up, it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. It's something that's incredibly special, and it's a wonderful tradition for Wall Township Public Schools, and that's the essay contest that is sponsored and run by the WTEA, and it's entitled "A Teacher to Remember," and it really is a very moving contest. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you the WTEA president and is one of its vice presidents come? Okay, you can stay there because Ms. Gail Marr, and she'll be leading this portion. And I told you, Ms. Campbell. And I just want to give a shout out to these 2 individuals because just as we saw the excitement coming out of Wall Intermediate School, they are very much a part of that excitement and, you know, really just being special individuals keep talking. Okay, well, I'll really turn it over now. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. I am proud to announce our A Teacher to Remember essay contest. This is the first year we opened it up to 1st grade through seniors in high school. Previously, we did 5th grade, 8th grade, and seniors. And I'm very proud of the 204 students that took the time to write an essay. All of the teachers received the essays that were written. They were wonderful. And what we're doing tonight is we're going to be announcing the winner for the building, which is very hard to decide because they're all hit your heart with the letters that they wrote. So we're going to start with A, Allenwood. And each school, a student was chosen for the letter that they wrote, the essay that they wrote, to a teacher in that school. We have one building where it's not teacher in school and student in school, but we'll talk about that later. So the first one I would like to bring up is Madeline Campbell, who is going to speak about Miss Jen Salt, who would also come up, please.
A teacher to remember. My teacher to remember is Mrs. Salt. Mrs. Salt is a gym teacher at Allenwood School. Mrs. Salt is kind, funny, caring, and very patient and helpful. Sometimes 3rd graders can be a little hyper, especially in gym class. Mrs. Salt is very patient explaining rules and answering questions. She has taught me how important it is to help others. Every year, we participate in the Kids Heart Challenge that is organized by Mrs. Salt. This is a fundraiser to help the American Heart Association. Mrs. Salt works very hard to make sure Allenwood reaches our goal. So far, this year, I have raised over $600, and the school has raised over $18,000. I did this essay before it ended, so I actually raised $800, and the school raised over $23,000. We are learning about heart health and raising money to protect all hearts, especially other kids' hearts. This lesson is important to me because I try to use it every day. Here's one example of how I helped others. In kindergarten, there were 2 new kids to the school. I went with Miss Guile to give them a tour of the school. Here's another example. If I am doing or was doing partner work in any grade, I help my partner if they need it. I also raised $100 this past Christmas to donate to the No Kid Hungry charity. In CCD, my class made Valentine's Day card to help elderly in nursing homes. Making others happy makes me feel proud of what I have done. These are skills that I have learned from Mrs. Salt, and I am looking forward to using them every day. We will all miss Mrs. Salt when she retires because of her impact on our lives.
Our next student is Skyly Jade Carmen, who is going to be talking about Mrs. Kira LaFerlita.
A teacher to remember. Many teachers focus mostly on teaching their students everything they need to learn that year. And on the other hand, some teachers do the same thing, but with a little spin on it. They make it so interesting that their students want to come to school every day. My teacher, Mrs. LaFerlita, is just like that. First of all, Mrs. LaFerlita has already taught me so much in this school year. For example, she has taught me many things in math, like long division, multiplying 1-digit by 4-digit numbers, and dividing with remainders. She's also taught me ways to remember how to do things like multiplying 8 times 7, how to remember lines of latitude and longitude, and multiplying 2-digit by 2-digit numbers. Secondly, she also tells us to always try your best, and if you don't understand something, you could always ask for help. And it's okay if you don't understand something, it just means that you need a little extra practice. Every time I'm feeling unsure of something, I always think of what she says and try to work it out by myself. And if I'm really stuck, I will ask her for help. Lastly, Mrs. LaFerlita is very kind. She has a good sense of humor, and she's very good at math. She always compliments me on my hair and outfits, and she makes learning fun. I also love how she connects experiences from her own life to math. For example, a way she helped us remember how to change improper fractions into mixed numbers is that when you are adding mixed numbers and fractions, you will think of her daughter Savannah ask for boy jumpin' when she really meant we will rock you. So far this year, Mrs. LaFerlita has become a huge role model to me. I wrote this essay about Mrs. LaFerlita because I believe that she should be recognized, not only because of her incredible teaching abilities, but because she has made a difference in my life. She has shown me that hard work pays off and that I should never give up. These lessons will continue to have an effect on my life throughout the rest of elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. Thank you, Mrs. LaFerlita.
Our next student is Andrew Daniel, and he is going to be speaking about Miss Jill Turner.
A teacher to remember. I have been at Old Middle School for 5 years, and I have had some amazing teachers through these first few years. However, my third grade teacher, Miss Turner, stands out the most to me. Miss Turner is very kind and funny, and she is an amazing teacher. Miss Turner taught me many great lessons. The greatest lesson she taught me was how to multiply numbers. This is special to me because it was the first thing she taught us in third grade, and it gave us an idea of what third grade math would be like that year. Doing multiplication with Miss Turner gave me the confidence I needed to do harder math problems. Sometimes learning how to multiply was really tough, but Miss Turner taught me that it was okay to make mistakes as long as I kept trying. She never got mad or frustrated, and she always helped me to do my best. She even taught us many fun songs and games that we could use to help us memorize our math facts. These lessons that she taught me are important in my life for many reasons. Because I learned so much with Miss Turner last year, I am more confident about math this year, and I'm doing really well in 4th grade because of everything she taught me. I also know that even when things are hard, I should never give up and that I should keep trying until I get it right. Finally, she helped me to discover that learning new things can be fun. The lessons that I learned from Miss Turner helped me succeed in other areas of my life, like in football, G&T, and even when I get older and have a real job. I will always remember Miss Turner as the best teacher ever.
Our next student is Brooklyn Fergie, and she is going to speak about Mrs. Paula Dapp.
A truly amazing teacher is hard to find, difficult to part with, and impossible to forget, especially Miss Dapp. Miss Dapp was the best teacher I could ever ask for, and I will never forget her. Miss Dapp was very hardworking, caring, and especially kind. She would help me with concepts I didn't understand and help me get through things that were tough. When I first came to West Belmar Elementary School, I didn't have good handwriting and I wasn't good at math. But when you welcomed me into your colorful classroom, you taught me how to write with beautiful cursive and taught me so many things in math. Miss Dapp not only taught me handwriting and math, but she taught me how to be a very kind person and thoughtful of other people's feelings, which is a very important part of growing up. I tend to level up, and due to Miss Dapp's wonderful teaching and guidance, helped me in many great ways to be able to advance to 4th grade. Miss Dapp helped me so much, and we did so many things together, like all the fun marble parties, and especially the Winn-Dixie party. Miss Dapp had also taught me so many lessons in 3rd grade that are super important to me and are very important in life. In 3rd grade, Miss Dapp taught me not to care about what other people think. This is important to me because I would always wear my hair in front of my face because I was afraid of what other people would think of me. After Miss Dapp told me, I started to wear my hair up almost every day. This lesson is important to life because if you always care about what other people think about you, it makes you not want to be yourself. Miss Dapp has taught me so many things that helped me throughout the year and important lessons that helped me understand certain things. Miss Dapp is truly the best teacher ever. Thank you for all the lessons you taught me and all the fun we had.
We're moving to the intermediate school. Maddie Joins has written an essay about Mrs. Amy Bramley.
Teachers are very important people in kids' lives, not only academically but mentally too. I'll never forget Mrs. Bramley because of how I have learned so much from her class while also having fun and making new friends because of all of the group work that we did. Her teaching techniques suited me very well, and I feel that I excelled academically. She never failed to put a smile on my face every time I walked into her classroom, and she still says hi to me every day when I walk into school. Mrs. Bramley is truly my most memorable teacher. One of the reasons Mrs. Bramley was such a great teacher is because I've learned so much from her class. Her class was one of my most memorable ones because I felt it was the one class where I felt especially motivated to do my best because there was always a reward waiting for you if you did well. This made me play full of tension, causing me to learn at my fullest potential. Additionally, we would do a variety of lessons differently suited for how you learn. For example, some days we would do artsy projects like making posters. The next day we might watch a video, and the next day have a gallery walk and walk around the room. I liked how she would not stick to the same lesson plan every day because it makes class less enjoyable and it may not suit your learning needs because every kid learns differently. Another reason why Mrs. Brandley was my most memorable teacher is because of how enthusiastic about teaching she was, and because of the environment she created in her classroom. Each day I walked into the classroom, she would always smile and enjoy every single second of teaching U.S. history. Because she loved her job, her students loved learning, including me. I felt the environment she created in her classroom was something that I'll never forget. Whenever I didn't understand something, she never failed to help me individually until I understood. The environment she created would always be welcoming to the opinions of students, but sometimes she would push us out of our comfort zones, allowing us to branch out. One day, I was paired to do a project with this girl who I've never talked to before. Now she's one of my best friends. Our friendship was born from the healthy environment in her classroom. In conclusion, Miss Brandley was a very special teacher, and I will never forget her. She was very memorable because of her ways of teaching, her love of teaching, and how she created a healthy learning environment. She has changed my learning experiences and my relationships with peers in a great way, and I am grateful for that.
Just have a moment here. We have a student that writes very good and really writes a lot. So we actually have 2 students from the high school that we couldn't decide which essay we should pick. One is a student at the high school writing about a teacher at the high school, and one is a student at the high school writing about a teacher that they had in the past. So I'm going to invite Emily Gill up to talk about Mr. Gordon Cousins.
I'm a little too tall for this mic. I'd just like to preface this with, it makes me cry. So, since the dawn of time, I've always strived for perfection. It's just an innate responsibility that I've succumbed to ever since I was a child. I'm a softball player, and I didn't pitch a perfect game. I thought I was a failure. I didn't get a 100 on my test. I should have done better or studied harder. Even tag at recess was a challenge for me because when I lost, it was the end of the world. I remember the summer before 3rd grade. It was pleasant. I spent most of it with my babysitter, my future 4th grade teacher, and my older sister Lauren, a rising 5th grader. I remember how Lauren would tell me how much she loved my future teacher, Mr. Cousins. She described him as fun, easygoing, but tough when he needed to be and highly supportive. I was truly enthusiastic about it because starting 3rd grade would mean I am growing up and would get to vote in the school elections. Computer classes would get more rigorous. Art class would be more creative with clay sculptures. However, I'd have to face my enemy again, the red pen. Being a perfectionist, I hated pens. Pens symbolized wrong, that my work was imperfect. They also couldn't be erased, which was even more frustrating because I couldn't redo a mistake without being reminded that I made it in the first place. When I walked into that classroom for the first time, I faced this giant man. He was so tall, a little red-faced, and had the most toothy smile paired with the same glasses he still wears this day. Alongside him was another woman, Mrs. Sloan, who definitely deserves her own essay by itself. The first week progressed, assessing where each individual was at, getting to know each other, and reacclimating to the school environment from the summer haze. I got to know Mr. Cousins better each day, more about his wife and sons, the cool vans he used to show up with. He liked to wear alongside his different ties. He was father-like, loving for all his students, but stern for those who refused to listen. One day, he introduced a new topic to me, multiplication. Each student would have to complete a quiz every day, every couple of weeks on our multiplication tables. It would start at 1 and work itself to 12, eventually resulting in one big class party. I was stoked to hear this, as I absolutely loved pizza, especially when sharing it with my best friends in the world. So I started practicing my times tables. I practiced and practiced. The first test was so easy, as 1 times 3 was simply 3. and so on and so forth. So was the second test, as 2 times 6 was 12. However, as weeks passed, then came the threes. Being new to multiplication, this was a little more difficult for me. My third grade self went through each equation in my head, 1 times 3, 2 times 3, and so on, until I got to one problem I couldn't remember. You only had a little amount of time to do the quiz, 5 minutes or so you really needed to have your facts down pat. 7 times 3. I couldn't remember. I started sweating, panicking, because I didn't remember the simple fact that I'd gone over with my mom the previous night. I rushed through the others and went back to 7 times 3. Time's up, Mrs. Sloan announced. My quiz was being taken, so I quickly wrote down a number. I waited a week, anxiously awaiting the quiz results, expecting my guess to be right, because if it wasn't right, then I couldn't hang it up on the fridge. Mr. Cousins handed it back to me with a big 95 and a smiley face on the top, saying good job in red ink. I immediately froze, my eyes wandering down to the reason I didn't achieve perfection, practically on the verge of tears at this point. I looked down on it, a big red X slashed through the number 3, 7 times 3. 3 times 7 was 21, not whatever I scribbled in last minute. It took me a second to process the fact that I was a so-called failure. Even then, the tears came strolling down my face. One by one, they marked up my paper and wetted it as I sniffled. Mr. Cousins approached me, noticing my tears, and pulled me aside. "What's wrong, Emily?" he questioned. My third grade self held up my quiz to him and pointed to the 95, the red ink, and the one I got wrong. I was anxious he'd be upset at me, as I was upset with myself that I didn't beat Declan Fitzgerald and his perfect 100%, because he could remember 7 times 3 and I couldn't. Mr. Cousins then explained to me the most valuable lesson I have ever learned in my entire life. I tried my best, and sometimes my best is all I can give. Of course, I didn't want to accept this. My 95 was unacceptable. But from then on out, Mr. Cousins made it his mission to get me to understand that perfection is unattainable. He would mark all my papers up with his red ballpoint pen, making it know that I got something wrong. Of course, every time I'd be visibly upset, every single time. So he kept persisting. He kept drilling it into my head that I was okay just the way I was, that I tried very hard as a student, and that was all he could ask for. For months, he would put these thoughts into my head over and over. He would tell me how great he thought I was doing and how much of an acceptable student I was, over and over. "It's not about perfection, Emily, it's about growth," he would say. Pretty soon, June rolled around. Summer was in swing again, and so was the end of third grade. I'll never forget the tears on my face after having to leave Mr. Cousins' class and move on to third grade. Wow, lots of crying. I can confidently say that Mr. Cousins broke the spell the red pen had on me. He was the first to make me comfortable with failure and accept that my best was my best. I didn't have to compete with anyone else, only myself. It has now been a decade, and I think about that class very often. I would say about once or twice a week when I have to remind myself that I don't need to be perfect. He was one of the biggest reasons I got through my first 2 years at high school at a vocational school. The reason I could accept a B grade, knowing I tried my best. I think about all his pep talks, all his hugs, every part of it. They say to be loved is to be changed, and I truly believe that Mr. Cousins loved me and in turn changed me. It was on February 29th that I went back to West Belmar for Read Across America Week and read to the third grade classes. Yes, I signed up because it was a good opportunity to work with kids and get me out of study skills. But what I truly signed up for was to see my third grade teacher and be in that classroom again. I found out that he had been moved down to second grade along with Mrs. Sloan, so I would unfortunately not be reading to him. However, we were given 15 minutes to say hi to our old teachers, and you bet I ran up that small flight of stairs that used to be the biggest thing in the world to me. I stood outside his door and knocked. I saw him at his desk, and I smiled. The next door teacher, Mrs. Dapp, said that the door was unlocked, so I opened it along with a world of memories. The room was set up the exact same, almost untouched from when I left. Mr. Cousins got up from his chair, and I don't think I've ever run to hug anyone faster than I did. I practically tackled the once tall man, who seemed a little less tall now. I instantly started sobbing, all the memories coming back one by one. He said he could recognize me from my smile, the same one I had when I was younger, which made me cry even more. They weren't sad tears, though, this time. They were happy ones, happy that I'd gotten the opportunity to be a student. I spent almost the whole, unfortunately short amount of time I had with Mr. Cousins and Mrs. Sloan. Mrs. Sloan even cried. I have never felt so happy and safe somewhere, so confident, so loved, in any other place in this whole world. Mr. Cousins has done things for me and made me feel a way that some cannot do in a whole lifetime. He was the first person to put a name on what I'd been feeling, anxiety, and the first person to help me manage and overcome it. I don't think I will ever be able to forget the feeling I had when he hugged me and told me it would be okay, and the last time he hugged me and told me it would be okay. I can confidently say that Mr. Cousins changed lives, especially mine, and has for so many others that I know, and will continue to do so throughout his career as an educator. Thank you.
And our last student is Sophia White, who is going to be talking about Mr. Justin Santiago.
The concept of teaching is an interesting one. Teachers are put in place to teach students academics and life skills. They're given a syllabus, a set of guidelines, and are constantly monitored by the administrators. Quotas for tests and quizzes are to be met, certain concepts must be taught, lesson plans have to be created, students' questions must be answered. All of these requirements put an everlasting pressure on teachers, who also have the responsibility of being role models for their students. However, even with all these pressures and expectations, there are always teachers who go out of their way to engage with students and make learning an enjoyable activity, even for sleep-deprived teenagers. One teacher in particular, Mr. Santiago, does just that and more. While I have not personally had Mr. Santiago as a teacher, I have had the opportunity to engage in various activities with him, majorly through student council and social club. From the first meeting I attended, it was clear that there was something unique about his approach to sometimes boring subjects such as school. When most teachers have a quiet student, they tend to leave them in their secluded comfort zone. Mr. Santiago, on the other hand, pays attention to these students and actively includes them, pushing them out of their comfort zone so that they can grow. His unique perspective and personality create respected relationships between students and himself, especially with students from the MD classes. He is a passionate teacher and has taught me so much, without me even having to step into his classroom. The greatest lesson I have learned from Mr. Santiago is to find the enjoyable parts of unenjoyable things. Potentially boring projects like Step Up Day, an event where middle schoolers come tour the high school, headed by Mr. Santiago and Ms. Kalinowski, can be fun if you incorporate games and captivate the attention of the students. By finding the fun in the little everyday things, everything is more enjoyable and interesting, and students will want to be present in the moment and learn. This lesson has changed my life, and I find myself abiding by it quite often. When I'm unhappy with something, I try to find the good parts about it. If I or one of my friends isn't looking forward to something, I try to find ways to make it more fun, just like Mr. Santiago. For example, I am a captain of the 6934 Transistors FTC robotics team, and with that responsibility, I, along with the other captains, are responsible for teaching the younger members STEM-related information. The captains dread coming up with teaching plans, and the younger members aren't usually interested in them. But remembering Mr. Santiago, us captains worked together to make an informational game rather than trying to teach kids who weren't interested in what we had to say. This made them want to engage, and they learned more through a fun activity such as this one than they would have if it wasn't fun. Ultimately, there are many teachers who do a great job at teaching their students, especially with all of the responsibilities they hold. But there are few teachers like Mr. Santiago that spark a student's imagination and engagement. To me, that's what makes a teacher to remember.
I want to thank all the students that participated, and maybe we'll have it bigger next year. Thank you very much. sort of like what Mr. Laughlin did, I'd just like to make a plug. The 8th graders have a car wash that was just moved to Sunday because we didn't think we wanted to be with 8th graders on Saturday, and they were cold and complaining. So we moved it to Sunday. It's Sunday from 10 to 1 here, and all of the proceeds are going to go to the American Brain Cancer Association. So if you can find a dirty car, that would be great. Thank you.
Boy, that's a tough act to follow. I'm incredible. I said that this was a moving tradition, and I'm pretty confident I delivered this with my description. Congratulations to the teachers, and thank you for the students. Congratulations to the students. It's just beautiful, and you think back to your own teachers. Here I am, in my 50s. And Miss Ryan, if you're out there, I know I've given you shouts out before. Thank you for all that you've done for me, because, every child connects with a different teacher. And I think that, and that's the beauty of education, because there's so many different individuals, different professionals working with our kids. Sometimes it's just a great fit, and sometimes it's a surprising fit on who clicks. So I thank to everyone. 204 entrants. I probably would have needed a big old box of tissues to read, so I probably would be a lousy judge. So thank you. Thank the committee. I don't know who was on it, but I thank them. At this point, before we move on with the rest of the meeting, I invited our board president, Christine Stites, because you might remember last month we celebrated the teachers of the educators of the year and the educational professionals of the year. And because of circumstances, our high school teacher of the year was not able to attend. So, we weren't going to let him get away that easy. Yeah, we had a video for him, but we just wanted to give him some proper recognition. So it's my pleasure to invite truly one of the finest, and to me, he's a young man, so a finest young man that I have ever come in contact with. So without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Jared Musoff, health and physical education teacher at the high school. Okay, at this point, I think it's a natural break in the meeting. I'm going to invite the Board of Education to return to the dais. And for those of you that either have homework or, or maybe not so much homework, maybe want to hit go to bed a little early, this would be a great time to do so. So please drive carefully, everyone.
Okay, everyone. We're going to go ahead and resume the board meeting at this time. At this time, I'll be opening the floor for public comment for the purpose of commenting on any school-related issues. If you'd like to speak, we've got the podium down front and the podium up top.
Betsy Cross, that was great to watch. And I want to say great job to Fiddler on the Roof. I went and saw that, and that was fabulous. And then I actually saw it over at Algonquin, and the high school kids just put on such a great performance. It was fabulous. Betsy Cross, I live in Wall. I just wanted to go over a few things. I've been sending in some information on cost per pupil in Wall, and I just can't wrap my head around this. Back in 2020, you changed the way you were calculating it, and you were deducting out TPAF pension and reimbursed TPAF Social Security. So it really changed your numbers, and I remember asking you that year, like, what happened? And you're like, oh, it's a new way to calculate it. No, it's not. You can't deduct the number when everybody else is keeping it the same way. And your footnote doesn't say that you just started doing it in 2020, because your cost per pupil was $24,000. You're now up to $32,000. So that's what I sent into the comptroller's office saying, what's going on? Ridgewood has 2,400 more students, but somehow Wall shows they have 135 more staff. It doesn't make any sense. Ridgewood's been very helpful to me. Brian Smythe, we're paying for health, dental, and prescription drugs $44,516 last year. And he had all of his information redacted, but the DOE gave it. Something's wrong here. We can't have our second largest line item and you're redacting everything. It's just not right. So I have asked the comptroller's office. They said just keep sending in the information, keep sending in your comparisons. I don't know if you're getting more state aid because of the way you calculate your teaching staff. Ridgewood is like one teacher for every 14 in elementary. We're 1 in 9. Ridgewood's ranked number 5 best districts in New Jersey. Wall's ranked 72. Something's wrong. Ridgewood's spending $7,000 less than Wall Township. Horizon, I can't even figure out what you sent me. I sent it into all of you. I sent it into Kevin Dermer, the Department of Education. I don't know what's going on with the self-insurance, and I don't think you do either, because you can't prove it's cheaper, and you're putting a blank spreadsheet together with nothing in it but when you want $14 million. You're budgeting more than Ridgewood. Ridgewood's got 2,500 more students. They probably have more staff, but I think you add in your coaches. And even the comptroller's office said, that doesn't make any sense. So if you can go over, how are you calculating your teaching staff and put that on the record? You have 964 staff, and Ridgewood has 829 staff. But they have 2,432 more
Thank you, Mrs.
students.
Cross.
So if you could go over that, I would appreciate it.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else at this time for public comment? Sure.
Hi, Susan McGoldrick, Wall Township. Good evening. I'd just like to talk about the NNDCC program and address the parents of 8th grade students that may be on the fence about choosing the NNDCC, or as it's more commonly known, the ROTC, and possibly alleviate any fears or concerns there may be. I remember when my son was in 8th grade and making choices for high school. There was a lot of information and a lot of fear of the unknown. When he expressed interest in the ROTC, I was worried. Would he fit in? Would he be able to keep up? What would this mean for his high school experience? But even more so during that time, my son was fearful of entering high school. He didn't have any friends. He didn't play a team sport. He didn't play an instrument to join a band. In short, he was terrified of finding his place until he heard about the ROTC on Academy Night. A sophomore now, and one of the cadets you saw tonight in the color guard, this painfully shy, awkward kid found his tribe. The NNDCC at Wall High School isn't just about uniforms and drills. It happens to be one of the more diverse organizations at the high school. Belonging to the NNDCC has given my painfully shy, awkward kid a place to belong. It has given him that feeling of connection that all kids look for when entering a big new school. Through this program, and because of the relationships made with other cadets, my son has matured and challenged himself in ways that continue to make us proud. He's made friends and is proud to be a student at Wall High School. I've heard other cadets refer to the unit as a family, and that is what it provides. It goes beyond the uniforms and drills and helps cadets find their self-confidence. It is not a military program, although they do wear uniforms, but it is a character and leadership development program that instills pride in their school community. If anybody, any parent of any student has any questions about the program and would like to speak to me or any other cadets' parents about our experiences, I encourage you to reach out to the Wall Anchor Club on the Facebook page. Thank you. Oh, and one other thing. Don't let that uniform intimidate you. Colonel Jacks is one of the most caring and nurturing teachers we have at Wall High School.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, I'll be closing public comment. Okay, at this time, we're going to be moving on to Megan Cappy and Mason Adam, our student representatives who will be presenting for us this evening. Floor is yours.
Thank you. It's been an exciting month at Wall High School. Today was Bus Driver Appreciation Day, and the students were sure to show their appreciation by greeting the buses with signs and huge smiles. We are very lucky to have such great bus drivers in our district. Our spring sports have all started, and their seasons have been very successful so far. Our varsity baseball team beat Rumson Fairhaven yesterday 13-0 with a grand slam, a 3-run home run, and a no-hitter in the same game.
The Wall High School Department of Music just finished putting on The Fiddler on the Roof. It was a great show and everyone enjoyed it. Tomorrow night is the second annual Wall's Got Talent. It's at 7 p.m. with free admissions, so come out and see all of the talented students at Wall High School. This Friday is the junior prom, and the junior class is looking forward to a very memorable evening.
Thank you very much. I know there's a lot going on at the school. We're getting ready for a lot of end-of-year stuff, so you guys can feel free to go home and take care of whatever you've got to take care of. Thanks for all the hard work, and thanks for the reporting. Dr. Handrian, I'm going to turn the mic over to you for a special presentation introduction.
Thank you, Ms. Stites. It is my pleasure to, well, at this point, probably reintroduce is the appropriate verb because we have really some year-long presentations, brief presentations from Ms. Tiffany Steiner and Ms. Kaylin Gilvary. Truly some all-stars from our student wellness team. And, you know, they've been incredibly busy with community engagement and incredibly busy implementing the first year, the rollout of the 7 mindsets. And we're at this point right now where we are at the mindset live to give. So I am turning the floor over to them.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for having us back. It's good to see everybody. I don't think I really even have to stand here and say anything because we've just experienced Live to Give. We just watched our amazing students give back. We watched our amazing teachers receive gracefully. We've watched us grow and step outside of our boundaries and really appreciate what we have to learn and grow and give. So that is the whole purpose of this month, Live to Give. Our students have been really stretching themselves and making a difference. We see that from everything from the car washes to Volley for Autism to everything that's coming up. Our kids really, I thought this would be the toughest one for our kids to grasp, but they have blown my mind, and we wanted to share with you some components of what they've already accomplished in this month. These are some of the integration vocabulary words. So words such as helping and kindness and legacy, fortify, citizenship, charitable. These are words that these kids are seeing and using in their day-to-day classroom. And it just goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do with our social emotional learning. I want to put some highlights out there. Now I have to say this, every school has done such a phenomenal job. We could stand here for 2 hours. I'm sure everybody would love to do that at 10 o'clock at night, listening to us over and over. But I just want to paint a couple pictures of what we're looking at this month. Olds Mill making a difference. You know, they donated over 116 books to Jersey Shore to the patients and families who are spending time there. I don't know that a better example of what is Live to Give and making a difference than helping somebody who's not in the best spot right now. Stretching ourselves, the entire 5th grade learned CPR. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know CPR. I just know you press. They know the whole thing. So we really push them outside their comfort zone, but the fact that they now have this confidence that they can go and help somebody, that's what we're looking for, stretching their abilities. The next one is, I love this, we talk about kindness like confetti, but Central School went above and beyond. They put Post-it notes on everything. Post-it notes on the lockers, on the desks. They really were able to embrace at such a young age what it means to receive gracefully while giving. They just blow my mind. Look at those faces. Look at those happy children that are really taking a lesson that's outside the classroom. These elementary schools and high school and middle school have done this without us asking. So the fact that they're embracing this just makes me receive gracefully, thinking we're really turning the corner and making a difference. Mrs. Steiner, you want to keep going?
I absolutely do. And I'm going to rewind you back to 100% accountable, because this was one activity that we did last month. It was delayed a bit. So I want to highlight it now, and then also just kind of highlight what we're doing to extend this. So this was done at Wall High School. It is a splatter paint activity where limiting beliefs and thoughts were written on poster boards, and then the kids were given an opportunity to take balloons filled with paint and kind of smash it, right? Kind of try to make something beautiful, some beautiful art out of limiting thoughts. And it was very well received, obviously. It was a really good visual, a really good cathartic for a lot of kids. But from here, now the kids have decided that they want to live to give, and they want to give their teachers this opportunity. So they're switching, and they're organizing this event, and they're going to facilitate it for our teachers. And that really is the essence of Live to Give, is kind of being in that momentum of giving. Another example that we wanted to highlight was something that had happened at Allen Woods School. And again, this is an example of Live to Give. Teachers are always so encouraging of their students. And Dr. O'Connell wanted to do something to really build rapport, build culture, and build bonds between the staff members. So she had a rock, paper, scissors tournament between all of the staff members. And now this was the opportunity for the kids to be the ones who are encouraging their teachers. So again, another example of Live to Give. We have our winner up there, who is Mrs. Morgan, a 2nd grade teacher, and Mr. Linstra is also up there. He is our PE teacher. He came in 2nd place. So there were no sore losers. I think he's going to be very able and glad to participate next year as well, and maybe he will be the winner next year. But what a great example of how to build culture and a positive vibe within the classroom. finally, there's a couple of things that have come up in the wellness department and what we've been able to offer our community. I wanted to highlight, and we're plugging all these events this evening, but we do have another family night about summer safety and success. This is a grant-sponsored activity. The WTEA is very generous, helps us put these type of events together, and in a family night, it means that we're going to have dinner, we're going to have prizes, and this one specifically, we're going to be setting up some different kiosks to be able to highlight different programs, providers, and things for kids to do this summer to remain safe. We just launched our Wellness in the Works Volume 6, and one other highlight that I wanted to share was last week, we were very fortunate, Mrs. Gilvari and I were very fortunate to be able to present in Philadelphia on Future Focused Schools. And our presentation was Educators in Actions, Stories of Real-World Resiliency. I did put a quote from the CEO of 7 Mindsets. We were able to really share a lot of our triumphs. We were able to receive some good feedback from other buildings who highlighted things that they're doing as well. And we're really proud of Wall Township and all of the progress that we've made. To conclude, our last mindset is the time is now. So we look forward to seeing you next month with our last mindset. And thank you again for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you so much. This time, we're going to be moving to the President's Report, and I'd like to start with recognizing our Wall High School certificate students for March of 2024, the Students of the Month. Grade 9, we had Donovan Klein. Grade 10, Genevieve Dillette. Grade 11, Edward Teddy Gunther. Grade 12, Julia Forelli. We had Knights of the Week. For the week of March 4th, we had 10th grader Michael Coplin. For the week of March 11th, we had senior Tristan O'Neill. For the week of the 18th, we had John Lippincott, a sophomore. And for the week of March 25th, we had 11th grader Anthony Gonzalez. We also had students of the marking period for period 3. Starting for the art department, we had 10th grader Robin Glacken. For business, senior John Brown. For English, 9th grader Justin Cannon. For family life, we had 10th grader Catherine Duran. For media TV, we have junior Karina Cruz. For math, we had 10th grader Michael Barcelona. For music, we had senior Zachary Nissen. For PE and health, junior Kenny Yorsaya. For science, senior Elizabeth Hartz. For social studies, sophomore Cameron Lynn. For technology education, we had freshman Nathaniel Schumann. And finally, for world language, we have sophomore Sophia Kepping. So congratulations to all of those students. I'm sure that your family and friends are very proud. And it's always nice to see hard work is paying off. I would like to congratulate all the WTEA essay writers and the honored educators who received these essays. I'm thrilled that we have the opportunity to share this information and these kind of presentations at a board meeting because while this is the Board of Education's business meeting, I think it's so important that our community have the opportunity to really see the true heart and soul of our schools, which are our students and our staff, and to see the really genuine relationships that are being built every single day. That's a testament to our educators and certainly to our students who took the time because of the impact that was made on them to really write and recognize them. I'd like to thank Mrs. Steiner and Ms. Galvari again for presenting 7 Mindsets. I really think that this program is picking up a tremendous amount of momentum. I'm thrilled not only for what it's doing for our students, but for the way that it's also bringing community members. This is something tremendously positive for Wall, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to have them come and share with us. I would like to congratulate Wall Intermediate School. The videos that we are seeing month after month from each of our schools is very special because, as I'm sure we can all appreciate, we can't really go into the schools and see things in action. So when the schools are able to bring their video presentations to us and show us what's happening inside the walls of the schools, I think it's special for our community to see that. And these videos are really getting pretty high-tech production, very impressive. Finally, I would like to thank the members of the board. We are in April. When we hit the ground in January, it is a very busy time getting onto new committees, getting the budget pretty quickly and learning to digest that and all the things that come with being on the board. I don't know if members of our community recognize, but not only do we meet for business board meetings as a group of 9 in public each month, and then also for special meetings, but we all serve on 2 special committees, either personnel, finance and facilities, curriculum and instruction, and policy, thank you so much, which is how we actually shape the district. So sorry, Mr. Maliff, please. My apologies, policy. So thank you to the board members. There's also a lot of work that's done behind the scenes individually. It's a tremendous responsibility and time commitment, and I thank everyone sincerely for all the hard work that you're doing on behalf of the community that elected you. At this point, I'm going to conclude my report and turn the floor over to Dr. Handerhan for the superintendent's update.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stites. Once again, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Wall High School Color Guard and our student representatives to the Board of Education, Mason Adam and Megan Cappy, for joining us this evening. I also want to thank all the students that participated in the Teacher to Remember essay contest. The number of entries received this year speaks not only volumes to fine faculty members in our district, but truly is a testament to the depth of the character of our students. Thank you, WTEA, for running this essay contest. Congratulations to the winners and their teachers that they remember. Thanks to Mr. Laughlin for coming out tonight and sharing all of the engaging activities taking place at Wall Intermediate. Just to reiterate what our student representatives what they were sharing, I am happy to share and reiterate that today is National School Bus Driver Day. Our drivers are integral to the operation of this school district, and I am grateful for their commitment to our students. And I was thrilled when I learned about the surprise that the high school had for them today. If you can, please give them a big thank you the next time you see them. Tomorrow is Administrative Assistant Day, and I am so grateful for their dedication in supporting students, families, faculty, and administration. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In speaking for myself, I depend on them every day and every night, and I am beyond appreciative of everything that they do to make WTPS shine. Congratulations to the cast and crew of Fiddler on the Roof. The production was just wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Hollander, Mr. Masella, Ms. Kelly, Mr. Kortenhaus, and Mr. Hollander for all of their hard work and dedication. Again, I'm reiterating our fine student reps. Tomorrow night at Wall High School, we'll be hosting the 2nd annual Wall Has Talent. I'm sure tomorrow night is going to build upon the success of last year's program. This Thursday night, Wall Intermediate School will be continuing the tradition of Volley for Autism. Last year, I was so impressed with the mission, the magnitude, and the spirit of this event. I had so much fun. I encourage you to come out. It's for an amazing cause. It's for a great time. And it's such an amazingly attended event. You'll probably run into people you haven't seen in years. Please check our website for information and registration details for the program that Ms. Steiner was sharing in her presentation, Summer Safety and Success Family Night, which is scheduled for May 2nd at 5:30 at Wall Intermediate School. The agenda, if you weren't able to see it, it sounds fantastic. Please go to the website. And a huge thank you to the wellness staff for organizing it and the WTEA for sponsoring this very important event. Coming up the first week in May is Educator and Nurses Appreciation Week. Many thanks to all of the WTPS educators in advance for all that they do for our students and for each other. So just a little heads up that I believe it's the week of May 6th, the first week in May and into May 6th, the week in May 6th. So just a little heads up because, it's really a time where we take pause and thank them for all of their hard work. New Jersey law requires school districts to sample water sources in schools every 3 years for the purposes of detecting lead. Wall Township Public Schools chooses to test our water sources each and every year because the safety of our students and staff is paramount. 171 water sources throughout the district were tested earlier this month. With this round of testing, we did have one classroom water outlet test higher than what is permissible for lead. This water source is at Old Mill School. The principal has notified via email the parents of students in this classroom earlier this evening. Over 30 water sources at Old Mill School and were tested and with this round of testing, and this outlier sample was certainly unexpected. This water source has not had any issue in the past. The results were received this past Thursday, and this water source was cut off prior to the start of school on Friday. Late afternoon yesterday, another sample was taken. We are awaiting these results, and I look forward to sharing these results with the community. All of the water testing is available for review on the district webpage under the Facilities Department, and a letter will be sent home shortly. On behalf of the Board of Education, I wish to express our deepest condolences for the friends and family of Mr. Robert Neal. Mr. Neal was a mathematics teacher at Wall High School who was frankly, he was a legend, both as a teacher and also as a guitarist. Mr. Neal retired actually right before I started, but I did have the pleasure to meet him one time because he actually returned, I believe it was last school year, to participate in a faculty band who performed for our seniors last year during a holiday concert. There's this evening we honored and participated. We provided a forum for students to share teachers that they remember. I would argue that what I've heard about Mr. Neal, he was certainly one of those teachers. So our condolences to his family, his friends, and to those at the high school that were particularly close with Mr. Neal. Just a reminder that tomorrow we will be having our public budget hearing, 5:45 at the intermediate school, but this time we'll be in the cafeteria. We will also be live streaming, so if you're not able to make it tomorrow night, just know that we'll log on, and all of the information to see the video live stream will be provided for you tomorrow. Mrs. Stites, I'm going to pass the meeting back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. This time, we're going to be doing a Board of Education update. I will start by saying that I also attended several evenings of Fiddler on the Roof at the high school, and it was spectacular, very enjoyable. So very, very excited to have attended that. I know we have some folks on the board who have also participated. Mr. Maliff?
Yes, thank you, President Seitz. I'd like to thank the WTEA for giving me the opportunity to participate in the Pitch It program. I spent most of the day at Central School. I was first in the cafeteria with Mrs. Capozzi and her staff, and was very impressed. They bring 6 lunches, right, Mr. Moniface? 6?
Yes,
6 different lunches come through, and they go to recess before or after. They come in, and the lunch aides get them all settled, and I was very impressed by the way that all the food was distributed. They have a great variety of options for the kids there, and the staff there that I saw treated the kids with such respect, and you could see that the kids really appreciated that. And then I spent much of the afternoon with Mr. Joe O'Connor, custodian there, going around, and I pretended to help him a little bit. He let me push the broom around, but then a couple times he went, after I already did it, he went and did it again, and then. But I want to thank you for that opportunity. I also want to commend our students and our advisors for Fiddler on the Roof. Like Mrs. Cross, I went to see it also the next night at Manasquan, and I will say I enjoy them both equally, and we don't owe anything. Our production didn't owe anything to the one that I saw the next night. So thank you, Mrs. Stites.
Thank you. Does anyone else on the board have anything right now? Okay. I know we've got a couple other members of the board that will also be participating with the WTEA Pitch It in the coming months. I will be attending some rounds with maintenance, and I know Mr. Buffa is going to be going out as well. So we look forward to reporting out on that for you. At this time, I'm just going to mention that committee reports will be published on the website, the minutes. Do any of our committee chairs have anything to report out on right now?
Thank you, Ms. Stites. Just updates on some items on the agenda. There is a paving project at West Belmar that is on for approval. That is a referendum project. HVAC bids are coming in. We're waiting until they all come in. It's the first of 3 rounds that are coming back. There's another award on the agenda for interior alterations district-wide. That is a 2-year project, and this is the second time we've bid it. That includes work in our toilet rooms in the primary school. There's also a contract for landscape design over at the high school. We are doing a master plan for the entire grounds. Not all of it is covered under the referendum work, so bringing in somebody to help us put together the entire plan so it all blends together is within the scope of this contract. And there is a change order for another section of the foundation of Allenwood to get sealed. It's been a wet April, and if there is a crack anywhere, we have been finding where it is, so this change order would deal with that. Aside from that, I do want to say I saw the Stockton dual enrollment on the agenda for today, and I'm absolutely thrilled about it. I am a Stockton alum myself, and a proud Stockton alum for my undergrad, and I will say that as a young man, it definitely shaped who I was, not just professionally, but personally as well. So kudos. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to be opening the floor for second public comment. This public comment is for agenda action items. In the event that you'd like to speak, we've got a podium at the top and a podium at the bottom.
Betsy Cross, I live in Wall. I did want to mention that Ridgewood has 2 public comments. You can talk on any topic. It doesn't matter what it is. I think you should do that here. They also let people call in. So if you're home, can't make it here, you can call in for public comment. I'm sure with all the sophistication we have here, we could do that as well. I did want to mention attorney bills. We've paid $100,000 to Athena Cornell. One thing, I know that Deirdre Kuchka was deposed, so I'm hoping that the entire board has now seen her deposition on the Central School trailers. So, we know we've wasted a lot of money because Mr. Smythe won't answer any questions for 3 investigations. If you could answer my questions that I asked earlier, I don't want to go over them again. I don't want to go over them tomorrow at the budget hearing. I'd like to get them answered tonight so I can think about it, and then if I have more questions, I will ask it tomorrow. I do just keep sending information to the Comptroller's Office and the Attorney General and the DOE to Mr. Morton and Mr. Richens. Things are just not adding up. I don't even know how a board member could even vote on health insurance up here right now. I have no idea. What you have sent me, what I attached to you today, all of those documents, it makes no sense whatsoever. So we're paying Brown & Brown $55,000 a year. They shouldn't even have been hired back in 2012. Their bid should have been rejected. It had no price. But Mr. Smythe made sure they got the business. We have had problems ever since. Horizon, it's weird. On the monthly bill, I only see like $141,000 in payments. Meanwhile, you send me back an exhibit and it's $848,000. That's why I'm saying nothing is making any sense. Have you done your board member self-evaluations? I was on the call for Ridgewood and they were talking about those for themselves. Cattell, I can't even understand. We're on our 8th adjustment, work order, and now we've hired them for 2 more projects. It's ridiculous. I don't even understand what you said about HVAC, Mr. Nasser. I was there for the bid opening, so if you're going out for bid openings, you got to re-advertise it. You can't just pick and choose who you want to come in now. I heard that company was terrible. I see payments for Cattell, Pravco, and Spietzel for the referendum. We need really a lot more details than we're getting, but 8 change orders to Cattell with them being hired for 2 more projects just isn't making a lot of sense. And I guess that
Thank
last
you, Mrs. Cross.
company that you hired, or you were looking to hire for the HVAC,
you,
is the
Mrs.
company that Manasquan is now suing. So if you could answer if you've seen
Thank you, Mrs.
Deirdre
Cross.
Kutchka's
Do we have anyone else for public comment at this time?
I guess I'm on. My name is Jim Smith. I live over on Tilton's Corner Road. I've been a lifelong resident of Wall. I graduated from the West Belmar School in 1949, so I've been around seeing a lot of changes in the way things have been done. I've had 2 daughters who've gone through the Wall school system, and they've done quite well. I currently have a grandson going to Wall High School. And I've always admired the way the Wall has worked. But I'm wondering if anyone here has, any of you members, would comment on some of the numbers that Betsy Cross has said about the cost per student. Would anyone say, is it really $32,000 per student? Is that a good number, or what? Anybody care to comment?
Sir, I'm sorry, this is public comment time. We don't generally go back and forth. Sir, it's our practice that we don't go back and forth. So we're more than happy to hear whatever you have to say.
Will that be tomorrow night, you might comment, or no? No. Okay. Well, thank you, and I guess I'll have to start paying a little more attention to what's going on here.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the floor for public comment. At this time, may I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Buffa? May I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. DiGiovanni? Mr. Smythe?
Mr. Anizio? Yes. Ms. Barbier?
Yes.
Mr. Buffa?
Yes.
Ms. DiGiovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Maliff,
Yes.
Mr. Nasser,
Yes.
Ms. Shimko,
Yes.
Ms. Stites.
Yes. Thank you. All right, at this time, may I please have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Maliff? I have a second? Mr. Adonisio, all in favor? Thank you, and I hope that we'll see folks tomorrow evening.